Yeah, let's just do the Course in Miracles. So today's lesson is 303, and it says, "The Holy Christ is born in me today." And if you've got the lesson to read further into it, that'd be awesome. What I get out of that is, of course, we always speak of that Christ is not a person, it is an office. And he uses the example of, if you're if you were mayor of your town, you'd be Mayor Tim, but mayor is not part of your name. It's an office, a title. And Christ is an office of a buttered one or anointed one who had done their work. And so it's getting to the point where we have that Christ mind in us, so that we are connected 24/7 to our source, which is love, which is God. And just like I was telling Ashia, it's where you put your focus and how you stay connected, and we can actually walk water. I think literally and figuratively both.
Well, and the other thing is that, as Michael says, to take this out of the realm of religion and belief systems and programmed thought, you change a few words and you get back to closer to the original meaning. So the word holy, H-O-L-Y, is really meant in the ancient teachings to be all-encompassing, whole, holding together in the entirety, awake, aware in the present moment, to all of what is going on, to the awareness that's outside of my conscious logical mind that thinks about how old I am and where I live and what my gender is and what my belief system is. That awareness that sits behind all of that, to have that whole view. And the Christ is this, as you said, it's this kind of a statement of having a level of awareness, an office, and an ability to tap into the one mind that unites everything, that is the energy of creation expressing before it takes form. The connection of all in terms of thoughts and energies. And so the idea for A Course in Miracles, and even more so for the Way of Mastery, is to give us a series of practices that allow us to be, one way to say it is to be in the world but not be of the world. To have an experience as a physical body, but to understand that it's my essence, my ability to be aware, my spiritual being that's having that physical experience. And so if I talk about how I'm going to let this other mind of awareness, of connectedness to all beings, be born in me today, the Way of Mastery specifically talks about a series of exercises through the course of these 3 books, the Way of the Heart, the Way of Transformation, and the Way of Knowing. These are actual practices that can draw our awareness to a deeper understanding of our true nature that goes way beyond the physical form and the petty judgments and emotional battles that we wrestle with and engage in and create and think are so important. It's the kind of thing that when the Course in Miracles says, open a space in your practice, put away everything you think you want, put away your trifling treasures, and leave a clean and open space for the Christ mind to come. So everything that I think is important in this world, my car, my status as a psychologist, my weight, my clothing, my ability to host these groups, if anything unlike love comes up in my energy system, I want to put all of that away and reestablish my awareness as an energy, as a force. There really aren't words for this. As the experience of being aware that's connected to the one mind, and understand that that experience and the expansive, loving, accepting position of that mind wipes out the anger, the fear, the tension, the possessiveness, the judgment that I was engaging in just moments before I took a breath and stepped back and reconnected to that Christ mind or to the one mind or to my awareness that it's possible for me in each new present moment to have a relationship with that energy that's beating my heart, that energy that moves in me with the breath, that energy that connects every living and we would say animate and inanimate object in this thing that we call life, this universe, this experience. So this lesson is calling me to take a breath and to practice stepping back into the awareness that I was given at the moment of, whatever you want to call it, the Big Bang creation. I was given this gift of awareness, which is my connection to that higher mind. And that's the thing that can never be taken from me. I can easily forget it and get tricked into thinking that, the sandwich I'm eating or the traffic that I have to deal with or the look that person just gave me is more important than my awareness of my connection to my source. And I can create that experience, that dream, that hallucination that something is more important than my connection to my source. But, of course, in Miracles and Way of Mastery are specifically designing steps to help us wake up and realize that's not true. That what's potential for me to experience and then extend in each new present moment goes way beyond anything words can describe and is certainly far more important than my iPhone or my favorite pen or the way somebody uses a certain tone of voice when they look at me or question me. So I'll take a breath.
That is awesome. So that's got to have clicked something in someone, a comment or a question. Nobody has a hand up, no questions in the chat room. So press 1 if you're on the switchboard, and it puts you straight in line without waiting. Switchboard's really weird today, too. It was doing crazy things yesterday, but it says there are no callers. However, if I look down the line, there are 18 numbers listed. So I don't know what's going on there. So hopefully we are live.
The reason that's happening is because Michael dropped off, and nobody called in as Michael. And
gotcha.
I chose the option to continue,
right?
But unless one of us calls in as host, it's going to continue to say there are no callers.
Okay, well, that's cool. We do have a hand up, so part of it's working anyway. So I will introduce our caller, 610. You are on the air. Is this Susan?
Hi.
Nope, hi.
Hi, this is Linda.
How are you doing, girl?
Wonderful.
What can
I have a question. You're talking about love and how important is love. I was figuring that, patience and intelligence are kind of the same thing as love and godly characteristics. I was wondering whether you guys have any comment on, why we should want love the most or patience the most or intelligence the most. Are there, specific examples that, gave you guys,
Sure. Yeah, I'll add to that and then let Dr. Tim add to it as well. Have you ever held a newborn baby or a newborn kitten or newborn puppy?
Yeah.
Okay. If you described that newborn essence in one word, how would you describe it?
Gentle, maybe.
Okay. And the different answers that we usually get is everything from gentle and open and sweet and pure and kind and awesome and wonderful and a miracle and all of those things, and they're all some variation on the theme of love. You know, it says that we are created in the image of the Creator. It says God is love. So love is what you are. It's not what you do. You know, if you think of holding that newborn, it's not loving you. It just is. It just is love. And that's who you are. You came in as that, and you're still that. However, you know, we go through life, and there's things that happen, you know, and we take on guilt and fear and pain and sadness and anger and all these things that are not like love. And what our work is about is how do you remove those things and get back to being just who you're designed to be, which is love. Now, the other things that you mentioned, patience and kindness and all of those, I think those are, you know, some people refer to it as like the fruit of your life. You know, if you are connected to love, then those things are going to manifest. But so it's about getting back to who you are. Dr. Tim, do you want to add to that?
Okay, so the idea is right there, Jeanie, you just said, if we're connected to love, then those things happen. And just to clear that up a little bit, in this work we understand that love is this energy of creation. Love is what animates us as people, keeps our heart beating and our breath moving and our food digesting. It is what gave rise to us. It's the energy within which we live, move, and have our being. As such, I can't ever be disconnected from it. But as I was just saying in the intro or in the explanation of the Course in Miracles lesson, I can distract myself from that connection. I can get focused on thoughts, images that my mind shows me, old beliefs, old traumatic energies, and I can shift my focus away from that infinite, constant connection and that flow of creative force. And when I do, I just create a dream, I create a hallucination, I create a nightmare for myself. So just to use the clear speech that I know how to use on that, when I reconnect my focus of my awareness to the truth that I was born of this energy of love and creation, and I've always been in it and always will be in it, then these other qualities like patience and acceptance and respect and tolerance and compassion, they flow from my keeping my awareness focused on my true nature, and therefore the true nature of everyone and everything around me. Then the truth, capital T, truth of existence acts on me and acts through me. It's not me being patient. It's not me being compassionate. It's me asking to be shown in each moment from that higher animating force what's mine to do in this moment to extend the good, the holy, and the beautiful. And then when I ask to be shown, when I make myself subordinate to that higher level of energy, I get access to some of the tools and the power behind the principles. If I'm asking to be taught by love, by the creative force, by capital T truth in this moment, then what you'll see coming out of my words, my behavior, and my tone are these things that in humanity we label patience and compassion and respect and loving and all of these other words. But that's just a natural result of having my conscious awareness focused on my true nature and the true nature of everyone and everything around me.
Okay. Do you guys have any personal testimonies to like benefits from, being in the love?
Well, there are a host of shows listed. If you go to whyagain.org and you click on the Start Here link or the red and white bullseye, Jeanie has pulled out, I think the third link down says MP3 files, and she's pulled out some of the most highly recommended shows over the last 7.5 years. And that's where I would start with your testimonials. I mean, there are testimonials from a man named Michael and a man named, help me, Jeanie, who's the other friend of ours who hasn't called in?
Terry Bowling.
Terry and Michael and some others, and there are a couple shows there listed for their testimonials that are just off the charts powerful. And there are also a host of shows where people have been stepped through the worksheet process, so you can see a live, a real-time shift in their energy from anger or fear or terror or confusion or grief to something else.
Okay. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
How did you find out about us?
Oh, I was just checking for any live shows in spirituality. Just thought I'd take a break from studying.
Well, this show's been going for 7.5 years, 5 days a week, 1 hour a day. So the archives are there with many, many testimonials, and people have been running support groups for a lot of years. I have one support group that's been running for 13 years and another that's been running for 4 years. And those people are full of testimonials. So feel free to check out the links to this show. There's a support group that we just announced today is going to be available through webinar, and if we're lucky, the recordings of it will also be available after the fact. So you can get even more testimonials about how powerful this work is.
Yeah, okay.
And if you'll stay on, I'm going to ask that out of all of the callers that are on the switchboard, some of them have been doing this work for a long time. Would any of you be willing to press 1 and give Linda your testimony of the changes that you have seen in your life? And that way she can get you live right here as well. Okay, we had a hand just go up. 610, you're on the air.
Well, and it's Linda. Is that her name?
Linda.
All right. I'm from 610, that's Pennsylvania. Where are you?
Pennsylvania.
What part? I'm in Allentown.
I'm in Sinking Spring.
Okay. Well, hi. I've been on this radio show for a couple of years, listening most days when I can, and they have something called a worksheet that they do, that they put up. I had severe anxiety and quite a lot of depression and some issues in my life. And these worksheets take you step by step through identifying what's really upsetting you and taking you to the point where you can let go of things that you didn't know you were holding on to. I'm being as general as I can. I won't use the terms like letting go of a goal or anything like that, because you wouldn't probably understand that right at the outset. The worksheets, there are lots of versions of them. I actually made a very simplified, sort of transparent version for myself that I can even do in my head, and they also have a little app that's just come up, where you can be stepped through the worksheet. Jeanie, it's Aramaic, Heartland Aramaic Forgiveness. It's a free little app that's totally dynamite if you use apps at all, and you can do it on your iPhone. Anyway, I feel as if I have been healed of most of my anxiety and experience incredible joy in life that I couldn't quite get a hold of before. And so I'm just one testimonial, but I just want to say this is a wonderful way, and it's universal. You don't have to be Christian or Jewish or Muslim or anything to do it. It's God-oriented, God-centered. Holy Spirit, you can call God love or anything you want. So it's accessible to everybody. And these guys on here, I come on a lot and I ask a ton of questions, and they're always nice to me, which I really appreciate. So that's one testimonial.
Yeah, that sounds
awesome.
That's inspiring. It's amazing.
Thank you, Susan.
It is,
because
things like medications, meditation, I use a lot of tools. I use exercise, eating right, everything I could get my hands on, but I'm on no medication now, which seems rather amazing too. I'm completely just doing it with the help of the worksheets and friends who are doing it. And I could add this. I just started a little support group. You're probably too far away from me. I don't know the Pennsylvania map. We're sort of new here, but I just started a support group myself that meets on Wednesdays at 11:15 for an hour and a half or 2 hours. So if you might be interested, and you're not too far away, I'd have to look at a map. Tell me your city again, where you're from.
I mean, I'm in like a suburb of Reading called Sinking Spring, but I can ride the bus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Reading. Reading's pretty far away, but on the other hand, might not be too far. Yeah, Reading's about, 40 minutes from Allentown or something like that.
Ah, I see.
Anyway, so, yeah, to come weekly. I have a woman coming from about a half hour away, and she's happy to do that. So anyway, I would just recommend going to their website, www.whyagain.org, and just mess around in there. There's so much to mess around in, you'll be there all day if you're not careful. But they have a ton of information, tools, MP3 files, previous radio shows, videos that explain things. This is a gold mine, and it's totally free, unless you want to donate, which I recommend doing because it's the best therapy in the world. And I can say that with authority because I'm a psychotherapist myself. So anyway, I'll stop talking.
Is there any reason why it's called Why Again?
Why is this happening to me again? Well, Jeanie could explain that.
Yeah, because if you don't clean up what's going on inside of you, you'll ask the question, why is this happening to me again? It's because, when we're all connected, the spiritual, mental, the physical, everything is connected. And so when you hold on to an energy that is less than love, less than what you're designed to be, then your physiology says, ouch. And, mentally, emotionally, and physically, the Creator doesn't want you to destroy yourself. So He's going to send to you whoever and whatever you need to bring it up. If you think of, yesterday one of our callers was around having frustration. And I said, okay, but, your frustration right now is pointed towards potentially getting transferred. I said, have you ever been frustrated towards a family member or a coworker or a parent or a child? Or, it's a repeat emotion, and our emotions are like the fire alarm that goes off and says, hey, there's a fire. If you just shut up the fire alarm, it doesn't take care of the fire. And it's the same way, when we're feeling anything less than love, it is an emotional fire alarm saying, hey, you've got to change a thought. You've got to change something that's going on inside because this is not healthy for you. And so it'll happen again and again and again and again until you decide that you're going to look at it and handle it and be done with it. And then you'll actually change the creation that you have. And so Michael's book is, and Michael is my husband, and he's traveling, so he evidently is in a place where he doesn't have a good cell signal, and so he got disconnected. That's why he's not on the show with us. But his book is Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And so our website is abbreviated, the first and last word, Why Again.
I see.
And it's how to make it different. So is there anybody else on the switchboard that would like to give a testimonial? Press 1. Come on, be brave. Tell Linda what's going on for you and how you met this work and changes that you have seen and how it makes a difference. All right, another hand just went up. 917, you're on the air. Who do we have?
Hi, it's Camille in St. Petersburg.
Hello, Camille. Hi. Can you tell Linda something?
Hi, Linda. I
Hello.
can tell you this worksheet that Susan mentioned has helped me with health, wealth, relationships, anything you can imagine. I fill in the blank. I call on the Holy Spirit, and suddenly we are in communication with one another, and everything else is kicked off the page. I cannot, well, let me say this. I would like to make it more positive. I highly recommend doing worksheets, as Michael has suggested to us, 5 times a day. There's nothing I enjoy doing more than getting my mind clear about the truth of my being and restoring the love and the joy that God gave me. And that's what I enjoy expressing to people I'm with and people I know or don't know. And this is the best tool I've ever found. I went to Michael's first talk in Atlanta in 1980, and on that day, I was leaving on a cruise, and I took those worksheets and printed out 50 of them and took them on the cruise with me and handed them out to people who just came up to see what I was doing. And some people sat down and did them with me, and it was the first time I had ever done them. But they're so easy to understand, and there's so many people now who have done it for many years who will help you over the phone or email you, and there's just a wonderful network of support.
Nice. Do you do the 5 worksheets a day, the same worksheet? Can you do the same ones or different ones?
Well, it's a different subject. I'll put in, say, an argument I had with my son, or a pain I'm having in my hip, or an upset I had to my tummy, or anything that's going on that's, as Jeanie says, less than love.
I see.
But yes, I used the same worksheet. I think I used the 11-step worksheet, which was one of the first.
And if you download the app, you actually have 3 choices. You have a 7-step worksheet that Michael uses most often, and you have an abbreviated worksheet that I use most often, and then there's also a game called the Dragons and Klingons. And the Dragons is your feelings, and Klingons are your thoughts, and it's, you know, these things just hang on to us until we decide to let them go. And so there's a game out there as well. And so you've got 3 options there, and if you go to the website and click on the bullseye, it will take you to where all of our worksheets, not just the forgiveness worksheet, but we have worksheets on stress and on looking for your purpose in life and on codependency. There's all kinds of worksheets out there. And so they're all there for free download. And then we're here on the show 5 days a week to answer any questions that you run into on it.
So would the app also be called why again?
The app is actually listed as Heartland, which is the name of our teaching center in Missouri. So it's Heartland Aramaic Forgiveness.
Okay.
And if you start typing that in either Android in the Google Play Store or the iTunes iPhone Apple Store, it's in both of those and it's free.
Great.
Awesome. All right, anybody else? Press 1. Thank you, Camille. Somebody else press 1. We've got 19 minutes. We can take another couple more testimonials here. All right, we got another hand went up. 910, you're on the air.
Hey, Jeanie. Hey, Dr. Tim. How are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you doing, Susan?
I'm great. It's Susan in North Carolina, and I had 2 testimonials from my Laws of Living class that I wanted to share. And since I've got my mind wrapped around those, I'll share those first. A little girl on Sunday, I teach Laws of Living, which is an intensive that Dr. Ryce teaches at Heartland, and I teach it here in North Carolina on an 8-week course, so it's once a week for 3 hours. And I had this young lady call me the night before we were going to start this last Laws of Living. I think it was like August. And she knew nothing about the work. She just had someone that had been to Dr. Rice's workshops here tell her about it, and I had done the why again with her one time at the house, the lady that was talking. Her name is Kim. So Kim had suggested to this young lady that this might be something that was helpful. So when she called me, she had no awareness of the wake-up sheet or anything about the work. She just knew that it was something that Kim thought was the next step on her path, and she trusted her, so she signed up. And I trusted Holy Spirit, Ruka Kucha, that this was the right thing. Well, this young lady has been amazing how she has took to the wake-up sheet and how she has done her work so much that when she came in Sunday, I asked her, I said, share what you shared with me yesterday on the phone, because we had had a long conversation. And she said she had went shopping for new pants because her pants were falling off. And she had went down 3 sizes in her pants since we started the class. Now, I explained that. That is miraculous, for one thing, because she hadn't had any intention to lose weight. But as she cleared the emotions that were stored in her tissues and in her cell, as Dr. Ryce explains it, we no longer need to have those fat cells or whatever they are that's holding the crystallized memory of what's happened and the pain of it. As she has let that go, her body has released the need to hold that weight. It was a miracle. It was miraculous. It was just like, wow, if that's a testimonial from someone who had no clue of what was going on in the body as far as the physiological reason. Anyway, it was amazing. And then I had another young lady that's in our class, called me just right before the radio show, and she is saying it's a miracle. Her mother, who, when she was growing up, was so afraid to even call it, she gave the example. She was afraid to call the pizza delivery guy because she didn't want him to know where they lived. So she doesn't want anybody to know. She doesn't let them keep keys to her house. She has a lot of fear. And this girl in Laws of Living at the beginning had set the intention to clear everything that blocks love. And what we know in this work is that when we do what we need to do, it clears it because there's no separation. Quantum physics teaches us this, that it clears it from the bloodline, which is your mother, your father, your children, and so on. So her mother calls her today and tells her that she has bought her ticket to come see her for Thanksgiving, and she has used her own credit card to buy it online, to buy the airline ticket. And this girl is just like, to me, she's saying over and over again, that's a miracle for my mother to have let go of the fear of letting anybody know her credit card number and use it on the internet is just unbelievable. And she said that's a testimonial, and said her mother actually said, she said to her mom, I can't believe you did that. I'm so proud of you. And her mother said, well, I've got to keep up with the generations. And she said for her mother to use the word generations was almost like, it was so ironic that she would say exactly what had happened, because it had cleared the generations of fear, because this young lady has really dedicated herself to doing her work since we've been together, the breathing sessions, all of the above from Laws of Living, which anybody who's taken it knows there's a lot of tools that we learn in that class, which is just beautiful. So, and for me, I don't even know if there's enough time left on the show to say the difference. My life is a miracle in itself. From where I was to where I am now, I have my own MindShifter group here in Wilmington. We've been going strong since my first year at that Dr. Ryce came to Wilmington. I guess it was 2012, so 6 years. It's amazing. It's amazing. I do it for myself. It's like I teach what I most need to learn. And MindShifters is shifting from fear and hostility and living from the presence of love 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And that is the intention. So when any thought less than love comes up in my mind, my job is to keep my mind clean and connected to my source, which is love. So I immediately go to whatever is the most optimal tool at the time, whether it's a wake-up sheet, breathing, holding a space of love for myself, all of the tools that we know in the program that we're working, the process that we're doing. It's just a miracle. And so I'm just watching myself evolve as I support and encourage other people to do their work. So I'll take a breath. Thank you for the radio show today, and thank you for the question. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Dr. Tim, do you have anything to add? Or Linda, do you have another question?
I can retire now. Jeanie and Camille and Susan D can take over, and it's odd because it's the day that I announced going on the webinar with my Thursday group, but now I can just retire.
No, we're never finished.
I have another question. So the worksheets, I know that you guys talked about the love, at the beginning. That is the core of where we are and what we should be focused on. So I was wondering, so are you saying that the worksheets kind of help along with that process of going back to the love?
Well, what the worksheets do is help me put on the piece of paper what I'm doing with my thoughts to interpret the events in the world as a negative experience, who I'm blaming that on, and what negative emotion I'm creating with my thoughts. And then it steps me through the awareness that the pictures I'm creating in my mind, I'm generating mostly from my past experience and traumas and inherited family beliefs. And just the tiniest bit of the information that's hitting my senses is even making it into the pictures that I create in my mind that show me that you made me angry, or you hurt my feelings, or you're scaring me. And then it asks me to construct the goal that I have for myself or somebody else that my mind is telling me, if that person would just do this or just quit doing that, then you wouldn't have to be sad or scared or angry or hurt. And then in the most illogical format possible for our culture, we step into breathing, reconnecting with that loving energy, and then canceling the goal that we're holding and asking to be shown the hidden part of our own mind that's actually generating these negative emotions or physical pain, etc. And when I do that, and I practice over time, shifting my awareness to my true nature as love and breathing, and I practice over time canceling the goal and my desire for anybody or anything else to change, with practice, it gets easier and easier, and it moves me into a position where the shift of my awareness back to that loving experience of my true nature becomes more and more an automatic response. So I want to pick up a worksheet anytime I recognize that I'm having an emotion that's less than loving, compassionate, accepting, expansive, joyful, and put my process on the piece of paper and tap into a higher level of wisdom that's made available to all of us by canceling my goal and asking to be shown. So I hope that answers your question or some part of it.
Yeah. Based on your description of what we do in our worksheets to go towards love, it seems like this being of love and focusing on love is actually, a really sophisticated technique that you have to hone and practice and remind yourself to be practicing, be using. And, there are so many, studies out there that say, exercising helps with self-control and well-being, and, meditation helps, this helps, that helps, diet helps. It would be awesome if, and I know there are, so many testimonials already, so, it would be awesome also if you could, do a scientific study on, if you, give these worksheets to, so many people and see their benefits, actually make it, a scientific journal. That would be, really awesome.
Well, yeah, and if somebody has lots of money to spend on that, they could do that. Our focus is on the actual practical application of people making their lives better, one worksheet at a time, one breath session at a time, one EFT tapping session at a time, one goal canceling session at a time. And that's what's fueled this radio show for the past 7.5 years and support groups for many more years. And it might grow to the point where somebody does actual research on it. However, what's being used in the worksheet process are bits and pieces of things that have already been demonstrated beyond any shadow of a doubt. Research on perception, research on the neurological pathways that get developed when I practice a certain pattern of thought, the concept of the coherent psychology that talks about memory reconsolidation and the accessing of memories that are held in the neural pathways, and they're connected to these deep emotional energies and traumatic energies. And when they get reaccessed, it opens a window where I can practice a different experience, a sharing of my wisdom from the past with my observation and wisdom of today, and make a shift, an actual shift in the neurological content of my memories. So there is hard science behind a lot of it already. And in this work, we're more focused on the practical application, delivering the tools and supporting people in using them, whether it's on the internet show or in the support groups or alone in their own house.
Yeah, that sounds really practical.
And, we always tell people, don't believe anything that we have to say, but use the tool, try it, and you'll see that it works. It
Right.
always works. Yeah.
Wow.
Is there anything else we can support you with? Thank you so much for the questions today. We do have another hand go up, so I think someone else has something to add. 417, you're on the air.
Yeah, Linda, this is Julie Haverstick. I've been involved with the work for about 30 years, and I was always looking, doing self-improvement things and things like that. But I was looking for a way to change things. And I met Dr. Ryce at Antioch College in Ohio, and he was teaching that worksheet, the reality management worksheet. Anyway, I was halfway through the worksheet with him when I realized, my prayer pretty much was answered. This is how to change things. I don't care what it is you want to change, but this is the tool to use to change anything in your life. I did take that worksheet process and bring it down in my classroom when I was teaching in first grade and kindergarten. And I taught that. And I taught the children how to empower themselves so that they didn't need a police person or someone that's right behind them telling them what to do all the time. They learned what the rules were, and they applied the tools, and we created a peaceful classroom. And that is by using the tools. And I wrote a book, Healing Children, Loving Children. You can order the book from Michael and Jeanie. There's a lot of research in that. I spent years in the classroom teaching that. And one day I was late coming to school. And I told the school that my electricity was off and I couldn't get there. I couldn't open the garage, whatever. Anyway, they forgot to put somebody in my classroom. And my first grade class, 5, 6, and 7-year-olds ran the whole classroom until 11 o'clock. So they were in my classroom from about 8 o'clock in the morning until 11 and followed the whole routine without another adult present. And they did that because they learned how to be responsible. And what these tools do is teach you how to be responsible and respond to your life rather than react to your life. And I can promise you, if you use them, you'll see a difference.
Awesome.
Okay?
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Julie. And also, Julie's children's worksheets are among the worksheets, too. There's probably 25 different versions of worksheets on the line, and you can pick the one that fits best for you. I have actually used Julie's children's worksheets a lot of times with adults even that have never been introduced to the work. and it's a good intro, simplified. She used it with kindergartners and first graders, so, an adult can grab it easy, and she did a phenomenal job, and she's my right-hand girl at Heartland. I don't know what I'd do without her.
That's great.
Yeah, we've worked together, haven't we?
We have. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the worksheet process is progressive. I teach it progressively in my book. So, it's that work on the language, the concepts for the children, so that they can begin to build an understanding of what we're really teaching.
Right.
So it gives you a good foundation if you would like that foundation. And sometimes people with their high intellect, they get so caught up in the worksheet process that and in their intellect that they can't grasp it. So that book helps with that. And thanks for all the questions. Great.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I had Linda, who is at Heartland, where Julie also is, said that she would be more than willing to do worksheets with you. If you would like, I can give her your phone number, if it's the phone number that you just called in from. And she said she would be more than glad to help you do worksheets until you're used to the process.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. And so I'll give her your number. And then also we have a chat room on the radio show here too. And so there's someone in the chat room, and she said it transforms your life at every level, like the sun shining in your life with love and sweetness, knowing that when you are connected to love, source is more important than anything else. That's when miracles start happening in your life, because when you come from love, everything changes completely. The worksheet helps you to dissolve what does not belong in your system, being less than love, and you become more aware of what is really going on inside of you, and you start living life by being and spreading the love that you are. That's awesome. Thank you, Lightness, for adding that. And, Linda, we are out of time. We've got like 39 seconds, so I'm going to have to close the show. But please call back in. We love your questions. It has been an awesome show today, and so thank you for kicking that off. And I will give Linda your phone. Her name's Linda too, so I will give her your phone number, and you all can connect, and she'll help you get started on the worksheets. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again. Everyone, have the best year yet of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world. Blessings.
When it comes to choosing Medicare plans, there are many options. How do you decide which one is right for you? The